So I left school with 0. Does that make sense? Nothing. And I had to face my life with nothing. So from the age of, probably about 14, I think I started to go off the road because I started to listen to the wrong type of people, and then it all kind of escalated from there. So from the age of, say, I would say 14 to 20, I was involved in serious crime. And when I say serious crime, I was involved in knife crime. I went to prison for 6. I've done the whole thing in that short space of time. And so I had to make a decision because at one point in my life, somebody who was an adult at the time, and he was a really interesting character because you never know where you're going to meet somebody who helps you out with your life. Does that make sense? You could be standing in a chicken shop, not that I eat that rubbish there, and not that you should eat that rubbish there because it's totally bad for your health, but you could be standing in a chicken shop and meet somebody that gives you a message that helps you to change your life. So I was on my 3rd day in prison, and I remember I still had to be, because I'm in prison, so I still had to be that person that I was. There was no way I was going to change that. And I remember one of the officers walking up to me and asked me the same question I asked you, what do you really want to do with your life? Yeah? And I said to him, I think, and he said, no, don't think no more, because your thinking has already brought you here. Does that make sense? Your thinking has put you in prison. So that's not the right thinking that you're doing. What do you know you want to do with your life? And so he gave me 1 day to come back with something, because I wasn't going anywhere. Because I was there for 6 months. I wasn't going nowhere. And he said, come back to me tomorrow and tell me what you want to do with your life. And I thought all night, and it was the hardest decision I made, because you know what that meant? For me, I had to tell myself the truth, right? I had to tell myself the truth. And the next day, I remember he came on to D-Wing, and he came straight over to me, and there was like hundreds of other children there. I'm talking about some of the worst children. And in fact, strangely enough, I went on to work with some of those children, those people that were my peer. And he came straight over to me and he asked me in front of everybody else, what do you want to do with your life? And the first thing that popped into my head was, I want to be a photographer. And he said, what you do is when you leave this place, you buy a camera. And you know what? When I left, the day I left that place, I borrowed some money off my mum and I bought an old camera. And if you look at that camera over there, since then, and we're going back now 30 years, photography has kept me out of jail.